So this
Right.
way, the pace of news reportage and opinion making has accelerated rapidly with the advent of new technologies in mass media. You know, when I began journalism, it used to be fairly straightforward that you're proud to say you're a journalist. These days,
Right.
journalists are called media wale, and there
Mm-hmm.
is a tinge of contempt for that term. Yeah. You will also find expressions like Godi media, right? There is
Mm-hmm.
media
Mm-hmm.
and there is Godi media. So people are learning to understand that there are certain departures from the traditional model of the media, where the media was considered the fourth estate of democracy, telling truth to
Mm-hmm.
power and holding the government to account through their reportage and opinion. Now they also
Mm-hmm.
understand that there is a section of the media whose job is to amplify the message of the government instead of trying to hold the government to account. And so they're called Godi media. But which is which, I don't think people fully appreciate. They might understand these two the categories exist, but which one is Godi media and which one is the authentic media that deserves to be called the fourth estate of democracy? I think there is still confusion and lack of clarity. So
So
this has to come about.
okay. So, but in terms of brands now, you see people who have the money, who are putting the money, and the general people who are following such media either for knowledge or in terms of building their brand or propagating their own brand as such as an individual or for the company. Now, brands as such, bigger brands in terms of planning their media of outreach, they today cannot wish away the need to approach media which is online. We can always differ whether that is good media, bad media, but media is a lot of revenues are moving towards that. Now, how do you see this trend? Because if even if there is say 10% of media which is not good for society, but a lot of people or brands are going towards that because their choice is being driven by the numbers they bring to their platform or the channels, you can say. And that's what determines that they should be there. That's how media planning works, and so at many times. How do you see that?
See, here again, there are some automatic correctives. Like, for example, no mainstream company or product would like to be advertised next to a pornographic site, right?
Okay.
You don't want your brand to be associated with something like that. Now, this has happened in the case of politics also. Certain brands have pulled their advertising from certain kinds of vicious propagandist kind of media outlets in the US. Now, uh, and this is again a matter of evolution. People have to learn to discriminate between what will bring them greater sales and greater revenue and greater respect as a brand, and being associated with things that will actually view them in a positive light. So while today internet advertising is seen as some kind of a homogeneous thing, soon a discrimination will come even for the media buying companies as to where they want to place their brands, alongside what kind of news, what kind of views, what kind of uh, entertainment do you want to be associating your brand with. Do you want to associate your brand with a very polarizing kind of message, which keeps talking about Hindus being victimized by Muslims or Muslims by victimized by Hindus? Or do you want to see your brand where there is more talk of harmony, there is greater focus on the greater collective common good? I mean, these are things that people will eventually come down to. Now, I think it is again, it's a process of evolution, learning, and discrimination, and that has to have time. It can't happen overnight, but it will happen.
Okay, sir. So, how do you see this Facebook? It's going towards now publishing. They have bought Review, so they another platform. I think Review has been bought by Twitter, so they are moving towards much more serious content. They want people to come down onto their platform. There's new word called creator. So anybody who is creating any sort of content is known as a creator, and it's now the time of creator economy. From gig economy where you were dependent on projects, now it's a positive word called creator economy, where you are not dependent on projects, but you are a solo entrepreneur. This is the present state that we are moving in. How do you see this word called creator economy, the time of the creators? Do you see it as a positive, or do you see it mixed way? What's your opinion?
See, it is immensely positive when it comes to the artistic fields. Somebody who wants to, who is good at producing music or paintings or multimedia art, uh, this is a great thing. People who otherwise would not have been discovered in the past for ages can
Right,
now
right.
be discovered, and the aesthetic experience they offer can be widely consumed and shared and appreciated on a scale that was not possible before the arrival of the internet. So that's an
Right,
undiluted blessing. But when this creation comes to news and views,
right,
then there are all these issues about credibility, about authenticity, about reliability, and how close you are or far away you are from an objective statement of the state of affairs. Now, this again, I mean, there is no ready-made answer. People have to learn to discriminate between reliable content and unreliable content over time. Uh, so it is good because it will allow a whole lot of people to develop uh, a new business model and earn a livelihood without being part of any large organization. And that's a good thing. At the same time, to the extent that their ability to create an editorial validation process is far different from and probably truncated as compared to that of a professional media house, people will still continue to rely upon the offerings from large media groups because they have certain advantages of being able to access multiple sources of information to cross verify what they report, which is not the case with every small independent operator. At the same time, there could be some independent operators who have this reach and this ability and the capacity to articulate a view or opinion sharply enough for that person to have a large enough following, which can then be monetized to become a viable business model. So it all
So, sir,
varies, depends.
so you have had seen all these things in front of you, sir. Many a times, so many ideas come to your mind. Some ideas you may have seen being implemented by some media houses and all. What do you think more can be done from the traditional media houses to bring more people to that, to the consumption of the traditional media? More than that, the trust that media is the one that needs to, that's a validated media that can be relied on, and independent, what you call, thoughts on different sort of medias can be read, but that's not something, they will be fully, you can fully rely them on for taking business decisions, or even, a lot of political stuff also, because that helps you decide on your business plans for the future. But traditional media, like even for Reuters or Bloomberg, if you read their news, you can take decisions on that, even for traditional media also, because most of the things are happening real time also. Everybody is carrying things that is happening digitally also. At Twitter, on Twitter, they have all got Twitter handles, and immediately something happens, they carry that. So, what are the things you think they can do to bring that back, the old trust, old sort of, journalism, you can say, though in a new format, in a modern format? Do you have any? Have you thought of any of these things?
I think the core of what they should do is to be true to their mission as independent media, as a fourth estate democracy,
Right,
reporting authentic information, giving people the right perspective on things that are happening around you, and being objective.